usually days on, I joke, but it's kind of true. Like Rick's kind of good for nothing. Like we might see him an hour at the most, or two maybe. But he's kind of like, he's eating, he's prepping for work. Like he wants to chill for a second and then he's going back, right? Or he's sleeping. So hi, I'm Kristen. I'm a police wife. We live in Los Angeles and I've been a wife for 9 years. We have 2 boys and I'm so excited to chat with you today all about dating a cop, police wife struggles related to the different kinds of shifts that our police officers can have. And I truly hope that it helps you. So no matter what shift, I think I'm going to cover all the 4 main ones I can think of. But let me know in the comments if I miss yours, and I'd be happy to address it in a future video if we have had that shift before. I also have an Instagram page. I'd love you to join our community. And I have a police wife book and a new coaching program, and I will link the information for those below. So let's get started. The first shift that I'll talk about is the swing shift, which is like always a kind of a different time that they start, but usually it's like afternoon to like morning, early morning. Like Rick might work 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. if he has a 12-hour shift-ish. Okay, so like around that. And that is the most common shift that we've had throughout our marriage. Like I would say the first like 8 years was mostly that, with a little sprinkle of like straight like night shift or third shift, which was like going in 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., something like that. We've also had a B watch, which is like 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and no days off anticipated. So I'll talk about that at the end. And then we've also had, most recently this year, day shift. So I will start with the most common one that we have dealt with in our marriage, which is swing shift. So swing shift, actually, like we got so used to it because it's the most common that we've had. We had our son Maverick pretty much like we kind of moved in full time with each other because we were long distance married for 2 years. So I have to speak to our lives as a family and like having our babies and just kind of how our routine looked, and then how do we deal with things in general. So because Rick would work that afternoon evening schedule, we did kind of prioritize the mornings together that we would have, although he would be sleeping. So I would say like on his days off, because he was sleeping like until maybe like noon or 11 or something like that after working, we would prioritize that time, that late morning to early afternoon time, to like maybe have lunch together and hang out before he would go back to work. Often though, Rick would work out before work when he had that schedule. So he'd go in, he might wake up and have like an hour or 2 with us at the most. And then he goes in early to work out. Now working out, I should have a whole video on that, on like our arguments and struggles around that, because at the beginning I didn't quite get it. It took me time to really embrace that, but it's super important to him. And at the time, early on in our marriage, he was in a gang unit and actually got paid for that time to work out, which is amazing. And that's really like special for that specialized unit kind of thing in his department. So it makes sense for him to do it, especially because he's getting paid to do that. But he would go in early. So we didn't have that much time on his days on. And then honestly, like usually days on, I joke, but it's kind of true. Like Rick's kind of good for nothing. Like we might see him an hour at the most, or 2 maybe. But he's kind of like, he's eating, he's prepping for work. Like he wants to chill for a second and then he's going back, right? Or he's sleeping. So I feel like on his days on during swing shift, I wouldn't really count on seeing him or count on him helping me with anything. And that is kind of what kept me sane, to just have that mentality that it was on me. And then if it was, then I could kind of just keep going with my life, and it was fine. Like kind of take care of my stuff that I needed to take care of, and just, I felt like it was better for me to anticipate that he wouldn't be helpful. And then if he happened to be, it was lovely. And then on our days off together, he would usually sleep in, and I would anticipate he would sleep in until like 11, noon, something like that. He might try to catch up on sleep that he lost, because in addition to that normal swing shift, like he would work overtime, especially in the specialized units. So then I would just anticipate him sleeping in, and I would tell him like if we had something, I had something to go to in the morning, that I would see him after. Once in a while, if it was something really special, he'd get up early for it. And early on, in our first year after having Maverick, until he was 1, we juggled no daycare. It was crazy. And Rick would basically get no sleep and like hang out with him from when he got home to when I got home. He'd try to get a little sleep and then go back to work. It was insane. I don't know why we thought that was a good idea. Would not do it again, but yeah. So in general, again, like his first day off, let him sleep in. He would try to like adjust a little bit, but usually he would sleep in later than us and still kind of does. I'm hardly on all these shifts. Like I'm usually with him. I'm without him in the mornings with our kids, but I'm just used to that and it's totally fine. So that's like the swing shift schedule. And then for a brief time, he went to what I called straight nights, like just to be dramatic about it, like 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. I used to call him a zombie. That is the worst shift for us as a family. If you do it, I'm sure I've heard people just get used to it and that's fine. But I feel like he did not adjust fully to it. So he like just whenever he'd be home, even on his days off, he's just a zombie. Like he was kind of off, right? And at that early time, he would not adjust his schedule. So he would still stay up, kind of be up most of the night and then go to sleep late so that he didn't have to adjust back on his days on. And they only had like 2-3 days off in a row. I just feel like, yeah, that made sense to me that he wouldn't adjust. But then he'd always kind of be on this opposite schedule of us. It was not fun. And so I'm thankful that was a brief time in our marriage because he was just tired all the time. And that is actually when he started drinking coffee. So Rick like was not a traditional cop. He never drank coffee. And he did during that time, like start drinking coffee and he's kind of stuck to it. Like, I feel like that started a little bit of a caffeine addiction, but, yeah, so night shift, that's kind of the things I remember around it, is kind of just feeling like, oh, like he's just spaced out a lot. But it was kind of similar to swing shift that like we would kind of prioritize the afternoons together on his days off as a family and try to do things fun during that time. Okay, so the third one I'm gonna talk about, which has been basically this last year, is day shift. Like Rick finally switched to day shift. He's working Monday through Thursday and we're so spoiled. I know it will not last forever. People have asked me like, does he have Christmas off? Does he have these? Yeah, he does, because he's working for a deputy chief in the department and it's really like a special position. But his hours are, I think he starts at like 6 a.m. and ends at 3, 4, something like that. But he works out after work and he works like an hour away. So we don't see him when we wake up because he's already gone. He gets up at like 3:30 or 4, something crazy like that in the morning. And then he gets home at like 7 or 7:30 at night. So I do most of the evening stuff like with our kids alone, like making dinner. Usually bath time is done by the time he gets home. Sometimes it's not. And then I am blessed because Rick will come home and he's a sweaty mess from working out, but then he'll be like, you go shower. So he tells me to go have a break. And then he gets the boys so he can have like a little time with them too. Like he gets them ready for bed, kind of like help make sure they brush their teeth, get in PJs, all that. And then usually I like to be there still for like the bedtime. Like we would like to read a story to the boys and like sing to them and stuff. I love to be there for that, but sometimes I'm not. He'll put them to bed. And then it's lovely because on our days off, he's still kind of catching up on sleep because he gets up so early in the morning for his shift. And we like to hang out together after the boys go to bed, and we're like spoiled right now. We can do it almost every night and we'll like watch a show together or whatever. And so we kind of hang out later than he probably would if I wasn't there and he could just go to sleep. I kind of feel bad, but it's also like lovely to have this time and we're not used to it. Like, so, yeah, so he'll usually sleep in a little bit on like Saturday, Friday, and Saturday and kind of catch up on sleep. And so again, most mornings I wake up, I'm alone with the kids for a little bit and I'm used to that. It's not a big deal. In fact, when he's there, it's kind of weird. It's kind of funny. I'm like, whoa, like you're riling them up before school or whatever, right? So it just kind of like pushes us off our little routine. So obviously it's amazing to have the weekends off, but what's funny is I've kind of had to adjust. Like I literally still, it's probably been, I don't know if it's been a year that he's been on the shift, but I still haven't really wrapped my mind around the fact that he has Friday, Saturday, Sunday off because he works like what is it? Is it 412? 412s? Yeah, so 410s. He would work 410s. Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, I haven't like really wrapped my mind around that he has Fridays off because I'm not used to it. So sometimes there's like little school events for the kids and I'll volunteer to like go there and be with them, and I forget like, oh, Rick can do it. And just little things like, oh, if there's a little event for the kids happening Friday afternoon, I forget to tell him, even though he usually will pick them up from school on Friday. It's like the one day he can. And then he likes to take them to jujitsu on Fridays because he is off, and it's lovely. And then Saturday and Sunday, we're off together, but it's still taking me time. Like I forget that I need to like make sure I talk to him about things I plan, because I'm pretty social. So I'm like, okay, who are we hanging out with this weekend? What are we doing? And it kind of overwhelms my introverted husband a little bit. So I gotta chill out about that, and I try to be conscious of it if I'm like overwhelming him with too much stuff on the weekends. So like for example, we're gonna go do like a fun like this neighborhood that decorates really cool for Christmas, and we're gonna go there with the kids. And I asked him like, do you want to do it, or if you don't care, then I'll just do it during a weekday when he normally couldn't come, because we'll probably go like around 5. It gets dark so early in the winter. And he's like, that's fine, go do it during the week, like I don't care to be there. I was like, all right, cool. So we'll do that without him. But obviously, and he just likes to chill, like run errands and catch up on stuff on the weekends. I try to be conscious of that so I don't overwhelm him. Okay, so the last shift I want to talk about is AB watch. So this shift we were on during like the BLM heightened time, and then if there's other things, like because Rick works in LA that happen, like the president's gonna come, or there's something big like the Women's March, stuff like that, anything, any kind of march, big event, then officers will often be put on AB watch. So that's like 12 hours on, 12 hours off with no anticipated days off. So that is a lot on us police families. Sometimes it's planned. They can anticipate this event's gonna happen, so that's what we're gonna have, or it's not. It's just like, hey, woo, there's a lot going on in the city. We need the AB watch, and they just get put on it. Sometimes there's rumors ahead of time, so Rick can kind of like prepare me a little bit, because especially like when we were juggling more of like, our kids are in school now, so it really helps me, and my work spoils me by giving me classes during kind of their school schedule. But I've learned to really try to shape our lives so that I can take care of everything if Rick isn't here. And that really, really helps me because of this craziness of like the AB watch. During those times, I try to be realistic with myself. Like there might be meetings at work that normally I could make and I can't make, and I'm just straightforward with them about it. And luckily I have a supervisor that's like understanding, and I try to be my best when I am there, right? So but it is kind of, the AB watch can be really stressful on us, but like I said in the past, I've just tried to be realistic, try to not do as many things, even just little things around the house of like, normally I cook most nights, maybe we're gonna go out more if I feel overwhelmed, you know, just be gentle to yourself and nice to yourself, and that really has helped me. So I hope this has helped you as I talk through like our routines and what it looks like during these 4 different shifts I could think of. Let me know if I missed one that you're on, and maybe we have done and I totally forgot. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I hope you have a great day.